Tonight we travel back in time to a world that no longer exists, a world without electricity, without clocks, without screens, and without noise. This is a story meant to be listened to, not analyzed, not remembered, just gently heard as your mind begins to slow down. In the medieval world, night was not something people feared, but something they respected. When the sun slowly disappeared beyond the horizon, the sky darkened completely, not softly like it does today, but deeply, suddenly, and absolutely. There were no glowing cities, no distant traffic sounds, no artificial light leaking through windows, only darkness and silence. People did not stay awake late into the night because there was nothing to stay awake for. As daylight faded, candles were lit carefully because candles were expensive and wasting light was unthinkable. Shadows stretched across stone walls, moving slowly as the flames flickered, creating shapes that danced quietly, without sound. Medieval homes were simple, often built from rough wood and stone, with thick walls meant to protect, not to decorate. Windows were small, sometimes no more than narrow openings, covered with cloth or wooden shutters. Glass was rare, and warmth was precious. Families lived close together, not by choice but by necessity. Privacy was unknown, and silence was shared. When it was time to sleep, there were no rituals like scrolling through phones, no background television, no music playing softly in the distance. Instead, people prepared for sleep slowly, almost automatically, as generations before them had done. Clothes were loosened, shoes were removed, and the day quietly ended. Beds in the medieval world were not designed for comfort. They were designed for survival. A simple wooden frame filled with straw, hay, or dried grass. These materials were chosen not because they were soft, but because they were available. The bed was often shared, not only between husband and wife, but sometimes with children or elderly family members. Warmth mattered more than space. Before lying down, people would shake their bedding gently, not as a habit of cleanliness, but as protection. Insects lived everywhere, and sharing your bed with them was common. This was not considered unpleasant. It was simply life. As people lay down, their bodies already tired from physical labor, sleep came quickly. There was no stress, no racing thoughts, no worry about tomorrow's schedule. The body followed the rhythm of the sun, as it always had. The first sleep began shortly after nightfall. This sleep was deep, heavy, and complete. Breathing slowed, muscles relaxed, and the world disappeared. Hours passed quietly without interruption. No alarms, no notifications, no sudden noises, just rest. And then something unusual happened. People woke up, not suddenly, not in fear, but naturally. This was not insomnia, and it was not a problem. It was expected. This period of wakefulness occurred in the middle of the night, and it was calm, gentle, and unhurried. People would sit up slowly, light a candle, and exist quietly in the darkness. Some prayed silently, whispering words they had memorized long ago. Some reflected on their lives, their families, or the coming day. Others spoke softly with those beside them, voices low, almost blending with the silence. This waking time was not productive, and it was not wasted. It simply was. There was no pressure to fall back asleep quickly. After some time, when the body felt ready again, people returned to their beds. The second sleep began. This sleep was lighter, filled with dreams, lasting until the first light of dawn. Birds signaled morning, not alarms. The sky brightened slowly, and another day began. This rhythm, This natural cycle of sleeping in two parts continued for centuries. It was only with artificial light, industrial schedules, and modern life that this pattern disappeared. But for medieval people, sleep was not something to control, it was something to follow. As you listen now, imagine that quiet night, the thick stone walls, the flickering candlelight, and the deep silence. Let your thoughts slow as theirs once did. There is nowhere to go, nothing to do, and nothing to think about. Just rest. As the night slowly moved forward, the medieval world remained still, almost as if time itself had slowed down. There were no sudden sounds, no engines, no distant sirens, only the occasional creak of wood or the soft sound of wind brushing against stone walls. For most people, the darkness was familiar, not frightening. Darkness was a part of daily life, just as daylight was. Candles were used carefully because wax was valuable and fire was dangerous. Many homes preferred darkness over risk, choosing to sit quietly or return to sleep sooner. Outside, the streets were empty. Medieval towns did not glow at night. Once doors were closed, the world disappeared. Only guards, travelers, or the occasional stray animal moved through the shadows. The night belonged to silence. Sleep in this world was shaped by nature, not by rules. People slept when they were tired and woke when their bodies allowed them to. There was no concept of forcing sleep. If someone woke during the night, they did not panic. They did not worry. They accepted it calmly. This acceptance created peace. In many ways, medieval sleep was closer to meditation than to modern rest. The mind was not overloaded with information. There were no endless thoughts, no constant stimulation. Life moved slowly, and so did the mind. Dreams came easily. Dreams were considered meaningful, sometimes divine, sometimes prophetic. People believed dreams carried messages, warnings, or guidance. Yet even dreams were not analyzed endlessly. They were acknowledged and then gently released. Morning arrived gradually, not suddenly, not loudly. The sky lightened step by step, blue replacing black and gold touching the edges of clouds. Birds sang without urgency. People woke naturally, stretching tired muscles, feeling the weight of yesterday still present in their bodies. Work began early because daylight mattered. Sleep had prepared them, not exhausted them. This rhythm repeated daily, for years, for lifetimes. Season after season, sleep adjusted naturally. In winter, nights were long, and sleep lasted longer. People spent more time resting, conserving energy. In summer, days were longer, and sleep shortened naturally. No one fought this change. No one complained. The body adapted quietly. Beds were often placed close to the hearth, where leftover warmth from the fire lingered. Fire was the center of the home, the source of heat, light, and comfort. As the fire faded, sleep deepened. Children slept deeply, untroubled by thoughts of future or past. Elders slept lightly, waking often, listening to the quiet world around them. Everyone had a place in the night. There were no strict bedtime rules. No one counted hours. Time was measured by light, shadow, and instinct. The concept of 8 uninterrupted hours of sleep did not exist. And yet, people were not exhausted. Their bodies were in balance. As centuries passed, small changes began. Cities grew, trade increased, and candles became more common. Later, oil lamps appeared, allowing people to stay awake longer. Still, sleep remained natural. It was only much later, with artificial lighting, factories, and strict schedules, that sleep became something to manage, to control, to fix. But in the medieval world, sleep was simply part of living. As you listen now, let yourself return to that simplicity. Imagine lying on a straw-filled bed, the room dark and quiet, the air cool and still. There is no tomorrow to worry about, no tasks waiting, no messages to check. Only the gentle rise and fall of breath. Your body knows how to rest. Your mind knows how to be quiet, just as theirs did. Let the silence surround you. Let your thoughts slow down. There is no need to stay awake. Sleep will come naturally. As night settled deeper, the medieval world remained unchanged, wrapped in darkness and quiet. There were no clocks counting seconds, no bells marking hours, only the gentle passage of time, felt rather than measured. People trusted the night. They trusted their bodies. There was no fear of not sleeping enough, no concern about productivity, no pressure to rest perfectly. Sleep was not a goal. It was a natural state. The absence of artificial light allowed the mind to rest fully. When candles burned low, they were not replaced immediately. Darkness was allowed to return. Eyes adjusted slowly and shadows softened. Silence was not empty. It was full, full of breathing, of distant wind, of the quiet movement of life continuing unseen. Even in crowded homes, night brought peace. Voices faded, movements slowed, and the world softened. The body released the day gradually, muscles relaxed without instruction, thoughts drifted without resistance. People did not lie awake replaying conversations or worrying about future plans. Life was direct, physical, and present. Fatigue came from work, not from worry, and so rest came easily. For those who woke during the night, there was no anxiety. They accepted wakefulness as part of the rhythm. Some listened to the sounds outside, trying to guess the weather by the wind. Others thought quietly about memories, not analyzing them, just letting them pass. This waking time was gentle, never rushed. Eventually, sleep returned on its own. The second sleep was softer, lighter, filled with slow dreams. Dreams were shaped by daily life, fields, animals, familiar faces, simple journeys. There were no screens to influence the imagination. Dreams came from memory and from silence. Morning approached without warning. There was no sudden transition. Darkness slowly gave way to gray, and gray to pale light. Birdsong emerged naturally, not loud, not sharp, just present. People stirred gradually. No alarms interrupted sleep. Waking was part of the same natural flow as resting. The day began without shock. As centuries continued, these sleep patterns remained stable. Generation after generation lived this way, rarely questioning it. Sleep was not discussed. It did not need explanation. Only when life began to speed up, when nights became brighter, did sleep become a problem. But in this earlier world, nothing was broken. The body and environment worked together. As you listen now, your body recognizes this rhythm. It remembers it, even if your mind has forgotten. Slow breathing, gentle darkness, and quiet surroundings are enough. There is no need to force sleep. There is no need to think. Just allow yourself to rest, as people once did, without effort. The night is long. There is plenty of time. As the night stretched on, the medieval world rested within its own rhythm, untouched by urgency, untouched by noise. There was no need to hurry toward morning. Morning always came. People understood this without thinking about it. Time moved gently like a slow river, never rushing, never stopping. Inside homes, the air was still. Fires had faded into glowing embers, providing just enough warmth to keep the chill away. The faint smell of wood smoke lingered, mixing with the quiet scent of earth and straw. This smell meant safety, shelter, and rest. Sleep continued in waves, sometimes deep, sometimes light. Bodies shifted naturally, finding comfort in simple positions. There were no perfect pillows, no measured temperatures. Comfort was created by familiarity. People slept knowing the space around them, knowing the sounds of their home, knowing the silence itself. Outside, the night sky stretched wide and open. Stars were brighter than they are today, uninterrupted by artificial light. The moon cast soft shadows, moving slowly as hours passed. For those awake, the sky offered company. They felt small but not alone. The night did not press in on them. It welcomed them. Travelers resting in inns or barns shared the same quiet experience. Sleep came easily to those who had walked all day. There was no expectation of comfort, only rest. Even the wealthiest did not escape the simplicity of sleep. Though they may have had thicker bedding or more space, they still followed the same natural rhythm. Night made everyone equal. The body did not recognize status. It only recognized fatigue, warmth, and darkness. As dawn slowly approached, dreams faded gently. There was no sharp ending. Sleep loosened its hold slowly as light returned to the world. People opened their eyes gradually, not fully awake, not fully asleep. This gentle transition prepared them for the day ahead. Work would return soon, but there was no dread. The body had rested as it needed to. As you lie listening now, allow yourself to share this rhythm. There is no need to plan. There is no need to remember. Just rest. The night is calm, the world is quiet, and sleep is near. As another quiet night passed, the medieval world remained steady, unchanged, unhurried. There was comfort in sameness. People expected the night to be quiet, and it always was. They did not fear silence because silence was familiar. It wrapped around them gently, like a blanket made of air. Sleep continued without effort. The body followed patterns older than memory. Breathing slowed naturally, deep and steady, matching the calm around it. No one tried to control their thoughts. Thoughts drifted like clouds, appearing briefly, then fading away. In this world, the night belonged to rest. There were no late-night tasks, no unfinished work carried into bed. When darkness arrived, the day was already complete. Even worries slept. Seasons shaped sleep gently. In colder months, people slept longer, their bodies conserving warmth and energy. In warmer months, sleep grew shorter, ending earlier with the sunrise. No one fought this change. Nature decided, the mind followed. In villages, entire communities rested together. When one home grew quiet, all others followed. There was no reason to stay awake alone. The night united people in rest. Occasionally, church bells marked time, but softly and without urgency. They reminded people that time existed, not that it needed to be chased. Sleep continued, deep, unforced, natural. Children shifted closer to warmth, finding comfort without waking. Elders listened to the quiet, content simply to exist. The night allowed space for every age. As morning approached, the air changed slightly. Coolness lifted, and light prepared to return. The body sensed this before the eyes did. Sleep loosened its hold, gently, kindly. People woke without resistance. There was no sharp boundary between sleep and waking, only a slow transition. As you listen now, your own body recognizes this calm. There is nothing to solve, nothing to improve. Sleep does not need effort, it only needs permission. Let your thoughts slow, let your breathing deepen. The night is long, and rest is waiting. The medieval night carried a quiet certainty. It always arrived and it always passed. There was no anxiety about time slipping away. Time was not something to lose. It was something to move through slowly, gently. As people rested, the world rested with them. Animals settled into stillness. Fields lay quiet. Paths and roads remained empty. Nothing demanded attention. Sleep deepened naturally, supported by darkness and silence. The body trusted the night to do what it had always done. Even those who slept lightly felt no frustration. Rest was not measured by hours but by feeling. If the body felt ready, it rose. If not, it remained still. This acceptance created calm. In many ways, sleep was a shared experience. Entire villages followed the same rhythm, falling quiet together, waking together. There were no bright windows in the distance, no reminders that others were awake. The world felt unified. During storms, rain tapped gently on roofs, and wind moved through trees. These sounds were not distractions. They were familiar. They blended into sleep, becoming part of it. Thunder did not shock. It rolled slowly, predictable, natural. The night held everything without judgment. As centuries passed, this rhythm shaped bodies and minds. People learned patience from the dark. They learned stillness without instruction. They learned that rest does not need to be forced. It only needs space. As morning slowly returned, the world softened again. Light crept back carefully, not rushing. Sleep faded gradually, leaving behind a sense of balance. The body felt prepared, not drained. The day began calmly, without urgency. As you listen now, allow this rhythm to surround you. There is no need to hurry towards sleep. Sleep will come when it is ready. The night is quiet. The world is still, and rest is natural. The medieval night asked for nothing. It did not demand attention. It did not hurry anyone forward. It simply existed. People rested within it, supported by darkness and protected by quiet. Sleep came and went like gentle waves, never forced, never rushed. Some nights were deeper than others. Some nights passed more lightly. Both were accepted. There was no judgment placed on rest. No one tried to improve it, optimize it, or correct it. Sleep was trusted. The body knew what to do. In this world, the mind was rarely overstimulated. Daily life was physical, repetitive, and familiar. Work followed the same patterns each day. Because of this, thoughts did not race at night. They slowed naturally, just as this body did. When people lay still, they felt the presence of the night around them. Not empty, but full of quiet life continuing unseen. An owl in the distance, wind through tall grass, the slow settling of a home at rest. These sounds did not interrupt sleep. They supported it. They reminded people that the world was steady. Even illness or discomfort did not create the same worry it does today. Pain was familiar. Fatigue was expected. The body rested as it could, without fear. As hours passed, the sky shifted quietly. Stars moved across the darkness without being noticed. Time passed without announcement. Sleep adjusted gently. Those who woke did so calmly. Those who remained asleep rested deeply. No one compared their rest to others. Everyone followed their own rhythm. As dawn prepared to return, the air changed slightly. A softness replaced the heaviness of night. Sleep loosened naturally. Eyes opened slowly, not all at once. There was no sudden alertness, only awareness returning gently. As you listen now, let yourself exist in this same stillness. There is nothing you need to do, nothing you need to think. Your body understands rest more deeply than your thoughts ever could. Let the night hold you. Let sleep come in its own time. The medieval knight asked for nothing and expected nothing in return. It did not demand attention, and it did not rush anyone forward. It simply existed, quietly, patiently, as it had for centuries before. People lived inside this night without questioning it. They did not try to change it, brighten it, or escape from it. Darkness was not an enemy. It was a companion. When the sun disappeared, life softened, movement slowed, voices lowered. The world gradually let go of the day. There were no glowing lights to resist the night, no screens to pull the eyes open, no endless sources of stimulation, only the natural fading of light and the gentle arrival of darkness. Candles were lit carefully, not to push away the dark, but to exist within it. Each flame was small, precious, and temporary. People knew that light was limited, and so they used it sparingly. As candles burned lower, they were not replaced immediately. Darkness was allowed to return. Eyes adjusted, shadows softened, silence deepened. This silence was not empty. It was layered. It carried the slow breathing of sleepers, the distant movement of wind, the quiet settling of homes built from wood and stone. Medieval homes were not designed for comfort. They were designed for survival. Thick walls protected against cold and danger. Small windows kept warmth inside and threats outside. Inside these walls, families lived closely together, not because they preferred it, but because closeness meant warmth and safety. At night, this closeness became stillness. Bodies rested near one another. Breath synchronized naturally. Sleep became a shared experience. There was no concept of personal sleep space. Beds were shared. Rooms were shared. The night belonged to everyone equally. Beds themselves were simple, a wooden frame, straw or hay packed tightly inside. Sometimes animal skins for warmth. Sometimes nothing more than a blanket. Comfort was not expected. Rest was enough. Before lying down, people often shook their bedding, not out of habit, but out of necessity. Insects were part of life. They were not feared. They were accepted. When people lay down, their bodies were already tired. Daily life required physical effort. Farming, walking, carrying, building. Fatigue came naturally. Because of this, sleep arrived without struggle. There was no lying awake for hours, no racing thoughts, no pressure to fall asleep. The body understood the night. It responded to darkness instinctively. The first sleep began soon after nightfall. This sleep was deep and heavy, the kind of sleep that does not dream much, the kind that restores the body. Breathing slowed, muscles relaxed. The mind let go. Hours passed quietly. No alarms, no interruptions, no sudden sounds. The world remained still. And then naturally, without fear, without confusion, many people woke. This waking was not sudden. It was gentle. Eyes opened slowly. Bodies shifted calmly. This moment was expected. It had a place in the night. People did not call it insomnia. They did not label it a problem. They did not try to fix it. They simply existed within it. During this quiet wakefulness, some people sat up slowly. Some remained lying still. Some lit a candle. Some stayed in darkness. There was no urgency. Some prayed softly, reciting words learned by memory. Some reflected on the day that had passed. Others thought about nothing at all. This was a peaceful time, a time without responsibility, a time without expectation. The world outside remained asleep. No distant traffic, no artificial noise, just the steady presence of night. After some time, when the body felt ready, people returned to sleep. The second sleep began. The sleep was lighter. More dreams appeared. Dreams shaped by simple lives, fields, animals, familiar faces, quiet journeys. Dreams were not influenced by screens or stories. They came from memory and silence. As hours passed, the sky slowly changed. Stars shifted unnoticed. The moon moved quietly across the darkness. No one watched the clock. There was no clock to watch. Time was felt, not counted. As dawn approached, the air changed slightly. Coolness softened. Light prepared to return. Sleep loosened its hold gently. There was no sharp boundary between sleeping and waking. People opened their eyes slowly, not fully awake, not fully asleep. Birdsong arrived softly, not loud, not demanding, just present. Morning came without shock. This rhythm repeated daily, weekly, season after season. In winter, nights were long. Sleep lasted longer. Bodies conserved warmth and energy. In summer, days stretched wider. Sleep shortened naturally. No one resisted this change. Nature decided. The body followed. There was no concept of perfect sleep. No fixed number of hours. No anxiety about rest. Sleep was not measured. It was experienced. Villages rested together. When one home grew quiet, others followed. There were no glowing windows suggesting life elsewhere. The world slept as one. Even storms did not disturb this peace. Rain tapping on roofs became part of sleep. Wind through trees was familiar, not frightening. Thunder rolled slowly, predictable, natural. The night held everything without judgment. As centuries passed, this rhythm shaped minds and bodies. People learned patience from darkness, stillness from silence. They learned that rest does not need effort, it only needs space. Even pain and discomfort were accepted calmly. The body rested as it could, without fear, without frustration. Morning always came. Work always returned. Life continued steadily. As you listen now, your body recognizes this rhythm. It remembers it, even if your mind has forgotten. Slow breathing, darkness, quiet. There is nothing to fix, nothing to improve, nothing to force. Sleep does not require instruction. It arrives naturally when given permission. Let your thoughts slow. Let your breathing deepen. Let the night hold you as it once held them. The world is quiet, time is gentle, and rest is already near. The medieval night did not change suddenly. It moved slowly, almost unnoticed, carrying people gently from one moment to the next. There was no sense of loss when night arrived. No feeling that time was wasted. Darkness was not separate from life. It was part of it. People trusted that rest would come, and because they trusted it, it usually did. The body responded to routine. Days followed similar patterns. Work was repetitive, physical, predictable. Because of this, the mind was rarely overwhelmed. There were fewer decisions to make, fewer distractions, fewer invisible pressures. At night, the mind slowed naturally, mirroring the stillness around it. Homes settled into silence gradually. Wood cooled. Stone held the day's warmth a little longer. The air grew heavier, then calm. Breathing deepened without instruction. Sleep was not announced. It simply arrived. Some people slept deeply for hours. Others moved in and out of lighter rest. Both were normal. Both were accepted. No one compared their sleep to others. There was no ideal to reach. Rest was personal and unmeasured. In shared rooms, the quiet sounds of others sleeping created comfort. Soft breathing, occasional movement, the reassurance that one was not alone. The night connected people without conversation. Even those sleeping alone felt part of something larger. The same sky stretched over every home. The same darkness covered every path. The world rested together. During long winter nights, People sometimes slept in several cycles, waking briefly, then returning to rest. There was no frustration in this, no struggle. The body adjusted naturally to long hours of darkness. In summer, sleep came later, ended earlier, guided by the sun. Again, no resistance. Nature decided. The body followed. There were no artificial rules forcing sleep into strict shapes. Because of this freedom, sleep remained gentle. As the hours passed, the night slowly loosened its hold. Light began to return, almost shyly. The change was subtle, barely noticeable. Sleep responded by fading softly. People did not wake all at once. They drifted toward awareness, stretching slowly, breathing deeply, letting the body decide when to rise. Morning arrived without urgency. As you listen now, allow this same rhythm to guide you. There is no deadline, no pressure. If sleep comes, let it come. If it takes time, let it take time. The night is patient. Your body remembers how to rest without effort, just as it once did, long ago. The night continued as it always had, without announcement, without intention. It did not try to be peaceful. It simply was. And because of that, peace existed naturally. Medieval people did not think about sleep as something separate from life. It was not scheduled. It was not prepared for carefully. It followed the day as quietly as a shadow follows light. When work ended, rest began. Not immediately, not suddenly, but gradually. Hands slowed. Voices softened. Movement became minimal. The body understood these signals without needing to be told. As darkness settled fully, attention drifted inward. There was nothing outside demanding focus. No distant glow. No unseen activity continuing elsewhere. The world felt complete in its stillness. Sleep came in layers, sometimes deep, sometimes light. There was no attempt to control it, no disappointment if it shifted. People trusted their bodies more than ideas. They did not worry about tomorrow's tiredness, because tomorrow always arrived with the same pace. Life was consistent, predictable. This predictability created calm. In shared sleeping spaces, the night felt safe, familiar. Each sound was recognized. Each creak had meaning. Nothing startled the sleeper without reason. The mind rested because it knew its environment. Fear did not live in the night as it often does today. Darkness was known. Even illness, pain, or discomfort did not bring panic. The body rested as it could. Acceptance replaced resistance. This acceptance softened everything. As hours passed, sleep shifted naturally. Waking moments came and went. They were not interruptions. They were part of rest. Thoughts during these moments were slow, unstructured, quiet. There was no mental noise. Eventually, sleep returned without effort. Dreams flowed gently, then faded. As dawn approached, the air changed again. A quiet signal, felt rather than seen. Sleep loosened its grip with kindness. Waking was not a command. It was an invitation. People responded when ready. The day began calmly, without shock, without resistance. As you listen now, allow your body to recognize this rhythm. There is no rule you must follow, no result you must achieve. Rest is already happening in small ways. Breath by breath, moment by moment. The night does not rush you, and neither does sleep. Let it arrive in its own time. The medieval night remained patient. It did not hurry toward morning. It allowed every moment to exist fully, without pressure, without expectation. People rested within this patience. They did not feel watched by time. They did not feel chased by the future. There was no invisible clock ticking in the mind. Time moved as the body moved, slowly, naturally. As sleep deepened, breathing became quieter, longer, more even. The body released tension without instruction, muscles softened, joints rested, thoughts thinned out until they disappeared completely. The mind did not search for meaning. It did not replay conversations. It did not imagine tomorrow. It simply became still. In this stillness, sleep felt safe. The environment supported rest. Darkness removed distraction. Silence removed urgency. Nothing competed for attention. Even those who slept lightly felt no frustration. Light sleep was still rest. Waking moments were still peaceful. There was no fear of not enough sleep. That idea did not exist. Rest was not counted. It was felt. Some people turned quietly in their sleep, adjusting to cold or warmth. Others remained perfectly still for long stretches of time. Both were normal. Both were accepted. The night allowed variety. It did not demand uniformity. Outside, the world remained unchanged. Fields stayed dark. Paths stayed empty. Water rested quietly in rivers and wells. Nothing moved unless it needed to. Animals slept according to their own rhythms. Owls watched. Dogs rested lightly. Horses stood quietly. Life continued softly, without disturbance. As hours passed, the weight of the night gradually lifted. Not suddenly, not noticeably, just enough for the body to sense a change. Sleep responded gently. It loosened without breaking. People drifted toward awareness without effort. No one forced themselves awake. Morning was not an alarm. It was a gradual return. As light began to touch the edges of the world, sleep stepped back naturally. The body felt prepared, not rushed, not drained. As you listen now, allow yourself to remain in this space. There is no need to wake fully. There is no need to sleep deeply. Just rest in between. Your body understands this place. It has always known it. Let the night remain quiet. Let your thoughts remain soft. Rest does not require perfection. It only requires time. And time is gentle. The medieval night did not feel long to those who lived inside it. Length was not measured. Only presence mattered. People did not count how much darkness remained. They accepted it fully as something that belonged. Sleep settled and lifted gently, like a quiet tide. There was no moment when the night felt wasted. Every hour had its place. Rest was not separated from living. It was living in its quietest form. The body responded to this kindness. It softened easily. It released without resistance. There was no mental effort involved in resting, no struggle, no disappointment. Sleep came as naturally as breathing. Even when thoughts appeared, they moved slowly, without urgency. Memories drifted through this mind without pulling attention. Nothing demanded reaction. The mind learned how to be still because the world around it was still. There were no glowing reminders that something else was happening elsewhere. The night felt complete. In this completeness, rest deepened. People trusted the darkness to hold them safely. Fear did not live here. Anxiety did not grow here. The night was familiar, unchanging, reliable. As hours passed, sleep shifted naturally. Some people turned toward the wall, some toward the center of the room. Some pulled blankets closer, small movements done without waking fully. The body adjusted quietly. Nothing interrupted rest harshly. When wakefulness appeared, it was gentle. Eyes opened slowly. Breathing remained calm. There was no reason to move quickly. Eventually, sleep returned on its own. Dreams flowed softly, then faded. As dawn prepared itself beyond the horizon, the night loosened its hold. Light did not rush in. It arrived patiently. Sleep responded by stepping back, not by breaking. Awareness returned slowly. People did not resist waking. They welcomed it calmly. The day began without shock. As you listen now, you are not required to follow any rule. You do not need to sleep deeply. You do not need to stay awake. Just remain here, in this quiet space between. Your body understands how to rest without effort. Let it do what it knows. The night is steady, time is gentle, and rest continues naturally. The medieval night remained unchanged night after night, season after season. There was comfort in knowing that darkness would always return and that it would always leave. Nothing unexpected happened in the night. Nothing demanded attention. This predictability allowed the mind to relax completely. People did not prepare themselves mentally for sleep. They did not try to wind down. Life itself slowed down, and sleep followed naturally. The absence of artificial light allowed the body to recognize true night. Melatonin rose quietly. Awareness faded gently. The body did not need instruction. It responded automatically. Even those who struggled during the day found rest at night. Fatigue was honest. It came from movement, from labor, from living, not from mental noise. As sleep deepened, the sense of self softened. Thoughts became fewer, then none. There was no pressure to hold on to consciousness. Sleep was safe. The night carried everyone equally, rich or poor, young or old. Status disappeared in darkness. Everyone rested under the same sky. In villages, entire communities breathed together. The night connected them silently. Even when someone woke briefly, there was no feeling of isolation. The same darkness surrounded all. The same silence filled every space. This shared rest created balance. The body learned trust, trust in darkness, trust in stillness, trust in time. As hours passed, sleep shifted slowly. Light sleep became deep. Deep sleep softened again. No sharp transitions. Everything moved gently. Toward morning, the air grew lighter. Not visibly, but perceptibly. The body sensed the coming change. Sleep responded kindly. Eyes opened slowly. Breathing remained calm. Waking was not a disruption. It was a continuation. The night did not end abruptly. It faded. As you listen now, allow this fading to happen within you. There is no need to arrive anywhere. No need to finish anything. Just rest. The night is patient. Sleep is natural. And time moves gently. The medieval night carried no expectations. It did not ask people to sleep quickly, or deeply, or perfectly. It allowed rest to happen in whatever way it chose. This freedom made sleep gentle. People did not fight wakefulness. They did not label it as a failure. If the eyes opened, they opened. If they closed again, they closed. Everything was accepted. The body felt safe because nothing demanded change. Darkness remained consistent. Silence remained present. The world stayed still. This steadiness taught the body how to relax completely. There were no sudden interruptions, no artificial sounds, no unexpected light. The night was reliable. As people rested, their breathing synchronized with the quiet around them. Slow, even, unforced. The mind followed the breath naturally. Thoughts dissolved without resistance. Nothing needed attention. Sleep deepened in its own time. For those who dreamed, dreams arrived softly. They were not intense or crowded. They reflected simple lives, familiar paths, known faces, quiet work. Dreams did not shock the sleeper awake. They faded gently. The night continued holding everything without judgment. As hours moved forward, the body adjusted naturally. Blankets were pulled closer. Positions shifted quietly. These movements did not break rest. They were part of it. In shared rooms, the presence of others brought comfort. The soft sounds of breathing reminded everyone that they were not alone. Even solitude felt gentle in the medieval night. The same sky stretched endlessly above. The same darkness covered all land. Nothing was happening elsewhere that needed attention. As dawn approached, the night softened gradually. Light prepared itself patiently. Sleep responded kindly. Awareness returned slowly without shock. The body felt balanced, ready, not rushed. As you listen now, there is no need to reach the end of this story. There is no goal. You are allowed to drift, to rest, to fade in and out. Sleep does not need to be perfect. It only needs time, and time is already here. Medieval Night did not try to impress anyone. It did not change its character. It remained the same, night after night. This sameness created comfort. People did not wonder what the night would bring. They already knew. Darkness would arrive. Silence would follow. Rest would come when the body was ready. Nothing more was required. Sleep was not a performance. It was not something to succeed at. It happened quietly, without effort. The body recognized night as a signal to slow down. The mind followed without resistance. Thoughts lost their urgency, memories softened, concerns faded naturally. There was no struggle to let go. Letting go was automatic. In this world, nothing competed with rest. No distant lights suggested activity elsewhere. No unseen people were awake and working. The night felt complete in itself. Because of this, sleep felt safe. The body trusted the environment. The mind trusted the silence. Even when wakefulness appeared, it was gentle. Eyes opened slowly. Breathing remained calm. There was no sudden alertness, no rush of thoughts. People rested within wakefulness as comfortably as they rested within sleep. Time passed unnoticed. Moments blended into one another without sharp edges. The night did not divide itself into hours or minutes. It existed as one long, quiet space. As sleep returned, it did so naturally. No effort was required. Dreams appeared softly, then faded again. Nothing lingered. Toward morning, the air changed slightly. A subtle signal, felt rather than seen. The body responded calmly. Sleep loosened its hold without breaking. Awareness returned slowly. People did not resist waking. They welcomed it gently. The day began without tension. As you listen now, you are free to rest in the same way. There is no expectation placed on you. You do not need to sleep deeply. You do not need to stay awake. Just remain here in this quiet flow. The night is steady, the world is calm, and rest continues on its own. The medieval world did not rush the morning. It allowed night to finish completely before day was welcomed. There was no sudden noise to announce the start of work, no sharp sound to pull the mind awake. Morning arrived quietly. Light entered softly, touching walls, floors, and faces without demand. People woke when their bodies were ready, not when time insisted. This gentle transition protected rest. Sleep did not feel stolen. It felt complete. Because of this, the body remained calm even after waking. There was no tension stored in muscles, no urgency in movement. The mind stayed slow. This slowness followed people into the early hours of the day. Work began gently. Voices stayed low. Movements remained unhurried. The night left behind a softness that lasted for hours. This rhythm repeated daily. The body learned balance. Rest was not something to recover later. It was built into life itself. Because nights were dark and quiet, sleep fulfilled its purpose. There was no accumulation of exhaustion, no endless tiredness. Sleep repaired fully. The mind felt clear without effort. This clarity did not come from stimulation. It came from absence. Absence of noise, absence of light, absence of pressure. In this environment, even stress dissolved naturally. The night acted as a reset. Every evening, the world slowed again. Every night, darkness returned reliably. There was comfort in repetition. The body trusted the pattern. The mind relaxed into it. Nothing needed planning. Nothing needed tracking. Sleep did not belong to schedules. It belonged to nature. As hours passed, awareness faded once more. The cycle continued without resistance. As you listen now, allow yourself to follow this rhythm. There is nothing you need to do, no goal to reach, no thought to hold. Just remain here, where time moves slowly and rest happens on its own. The night is steady, the body knows what to do, and sleep continues naturally. As the medieval night slowly comes to rest, there is nothing left to explain, nothing left to add. The world remains quiet, darkness stays gentle, and time continues to move without urgency. Sleep does not need more information. It only needs space. The people of the past trusted the night. They allowed rest to arrive naturally, and then they let it go when morning appeared. There was no attachment, no resistance, just a steady rhythm that repeated itself again and again. As this story slowly fades, you are free to drift as deeply as you wish. There is no ending you need to reach, only rest. If you are still awake, you can simply remain here for a few more moments, breathing slowly, thinking less, letting the night do its work. And if sleep has already arrived, this voice will fade quietly into the background. Thank you for spending this calm time here. If you enjoy slow, boring history designed for deep rest and sleep, you can gently support this channel. You may like this video if it helped you relax. You may subscribe for more quiet stories, soft history, and long peaceful nights. New videos will be waiting for you whenever you return. Until then, rest well, sleep deeply, and we will meet again in the next video. Good night.